My name is Gloria Uehara. I am the Executive Director for the Federal Executive Board. Nationally, we have 28 Federal Executive Board. Honolulu Pacific, FEB, is represented here in the Federal Building downtown Honolulu. The Federal Executive Board has 3 lines of business. One is human capital, the second is emergency preparedness, and the third is the local initiative, in which the locality pay issue has been something that we have been fervently trying to pursue with such gusto, and we work with OPM, and we've also worked with Senator Akaka's office to help move this issue forward and bringing it to the limelight. Our role is really to gather all the federal agencies in the Pacific, meaning that senior agency managers have subordinate commands, but we take care of the 120 federal agencies here in Hawaii, and whenever such issues occur, we would like them then to pass it down to the subordinate agencies. Our role is to communicate, collaborate. So therefore, what we've done is look at what is most important to the community here in the Hawaii area, and how do we join the federal agencies to look at some of the issues and think about how we're going to pursue them. 5 years ago, when I took this position, I visited many FEB members, and there were 2 main issues that crossed the path continuously over and over. The first was, how do we build our bench? How do we look at succession planning? And second, how do we fill that leadership gap? Hawaii agencies were then severely disadvantaged when it came to recruiting and retaining strategies and closing the leadership gaps. The issue of recruiting and retaining had become larger than our mainland counterparts because we did not have the locality pay benefits when we retired. Agency managers, therefore, were extremely challenged, and no sooner did they build their leadership bench, they found that the leadership pool, members in that pool, actually were looking at how do I leave here and find a location where locality pay would be a benefit to me, to them. In 2007, the Federal Executive Board asked OPM and Senator Akaka's office if they would come down and help and explain the proposed COLA to locality bill. At that time, these members traveled around the island and onto outer islands as well to try to explain the impact. In 2008, the bill failed to pass, but the FED continuously put out the information to all FED members, and in turn we were expecting them to send it out to all of you. In 2009, however, Senator Akaka's subcommittee for the federal workforce forged ahead successfully. On 29 October, President Obama then signed into law the FY 2010 National Defense Authorization Act. That conference agreement included Non-Foreign Area Retirement Equity Assurance Act to replace the COLA with locality pay. Hawaii, Alaska, and the territories are now covered. These 2 groups have been very vigilant, Senator Akaka's staff and OPM, in putting the word across to help you understand whichever communities you lie in, to help you see what the impact might be for you. We have since then asked your agencies to submit Q&A questions to us, and we would consolidate them and send them to Senator Akaka and OPM for them to come up with a Q&A list. And we're going to then, after we consolidate them and get the answers together, we're going to have them posted at Senator Akaka's website, and we'll also have a link to the Federal Executive Board website as well. Today, the FEB is pleased to present once again the dynamic team of Senator Akaka's Federal Workforce Subcommittee, who include Staff Director Lisa Powell, to stand and recognize. She has worked really hard to push this bill. Counsel Christine Kim and Brian Polisa. The Brookings Fellow from the Office of Government Ethics, Shelley Finlayson, who is detailed to Senator Akaka's workforce, attorney. And from the Office of Personnel Management, the Performance and Pay System Strategic HR Policy Division, Mr. Charles Grimes. And the Deputy Director, Office of Congressional Affairs, Mr. Thomas Richards. Okay, we will need to leave this site by 11:30 and head to our next session at East West Center. And by the way, for those of you who have not gotten the word, you can also pass it out to your fellow friends that at the East West Center, if they have not gotten the word, they can actually register for a webcast that's going to be held at 1 o'clock this afternoon. And if you go to our FEB website, and our email address is at the bottom of this brochure, then you will find information on not only the schedules, but some of the Q&As that were posted already. And we have some other related information regarding the locality pay issue. Therefore, in the interest of time, I would like to ask you to please hold your questions till the end. And our first speaker will be Ms. Lisa Powell, who will then be followed by Mr. Chuck Grimes and Mr. Thomas Richards. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Ms. Lisa Powell.
Is this working? Okay. Thank you so much, Gloria. I want to thank the Federal Executive Board for hosting us today, and Gloria in particular. She did a tremendous amount of work setting up. I think we have 16 information sessions on Oahu, as well as the Big Island, Maui, and Kauai in the next week and a half. So we're trying to get the word out. Also, I want to send aloha from Senator Akake. Sorry, I can't make it here today, but he had to go back to Washington, D.C. to be in the Senate today. Healthcare is on the floor in debate now. So if you could go to the first slide. I'm just going to give a little bit of the background of the legislation, but I think what everyone's interested in now is, now that it's passed, what does it really mean? So I'm going to turn it over to OPM to do a lot of the details of what it'll really mean when this legislation is implemented. So as Gloria mentioned, in 2007, we came out here and did listening sessions on COLA and locality pay, and on an original proposal from the last administration to transition to locality pay. In that original proposal, the administration had a 7-year time frame to transition, and COLA would have been reduced at 85 cents for each dollar. So the kinds of concerns we heard were about the speed of the transition and people losing take-home pay. So we did some work on legislation. We took the framework, we made sure it covered everyone. We changed the offset so that it'll protect people's take-home pay, and we're able to implement it more quickly. So as you all know, retirement benefits of white-collar civilian federal employees are lower than their counterparts in the mainland because your locality pay doesn't count for your retirement. You get COLA instead, which is not taxed, but it doesn't count.